And welcome in everybody to a live edition talking about Nebraska football, Nebraska recruiting, all the rumors that have been going on over the last week. And of course, you guys see it right now on the screen. Hit that like button if you enjoy live content talking Huskers. How's everybody doing today? Drop where you're tuning in from in the chat. Man, we have a lot to talk about. Of course, Nebraska recruiting starting to heat up. We've got a couple new recruits, Brian Tapu, and then of course today, Houston Kaahaaina-Torres, and a lot of guys are going to be committing this very week and next week. So we're going to get to all of that today in the live stream. So how's everybody doing? I'll try to open up, see people's comments. Checking in. Oh, of course, got some Omaha people. Papillion, Louisville, Venice, Florida. There we go. There we go. Oh, negative Mike's in here. He says negative town. Of course. Yep, Grand Island, Omaha. Of course, we have my boy RS from the Philippines checking in. So, yeah, man, a lot of stuff here to talk about today. I'm excited to let's just dive into it. Talking about Nebraska's commit today. So, without further ado, let's just pull up his stuff, and then we're going to get into basically all the commits we got recently, a lot of the rumors going on. There's some Michael Terry rumors I'm going to address, of course, 5-star athlete. And then we're going to start to talk about some of the guys I think are going to commit over the next couple weeks. And then, of course, Q&A, as always, whatever you guys want to talk about. So let's just start it off going to Houston Kaahaaina-Torres. Got, of course, the guy who committed a couple hours ago. Now, this is a prospect, too. If you look here, 3-star according to every single recruiting site. He should not be a 3-star. You know, a lot of people think, oh, just another 3-star lineman. You watch him on film, this is a 4-star lineman every single day of the week. He was at a Rivals camp earlier in the offseason. He got MVP at that. He's just a straight mauler. He can play center. He can play guard. I would even feel comfortable putting him at tackle. I don't think that's going to happen, but yes, he's an interior lineman. And this is a big win for Nebraska recruiting because until basically yesterday, we didn't think we were going to land this guy. Michigan State was trying to get him very hard. Of course, Arizona State also in the mix there. And he decides to commit to Nebraska. One interesting thing I saw about Houston Kaahaaina-Torres is that his sister played volleyball at the University of Texas. So, yeah, definitely some good genetics there in the Polynesian pipeline. But I try to tell this to people. This is not a 3-star lineman. I have no idea why they have him listed as a 3-star according to every single recruiting site. He's a 4-star, and hopefully by the end of his senior year of high school, that will be reflective, of how good he is. But let's get to the other guy really quick here that Nebraska had commit to them, and this is Brian Tapu. So, of course, we beat out Oregon State and Iowa State, and this is the guy I had on the channel. Shout out to Brian. We had him on the channel for a quick little interview. I asked him a lot of stuff off the scenes too, not in the video, so I'll try to hint at that today in the live stream. But yes, a lot of the big question mark around him was, is he taking that 2-year mission? He is not doing that anymore, so he will get on campus next fall, ready to go with everybody else in class 2025. So I know that was a big question mark. He confirmed that it's not happening anymore. But again, talking to him, again, not in my video per se, but after we were done recording, yeah, he's just a super down-to-earth guy. And, the reason why I got him on the channel, because people were asking, how did you land that interview? He saw my first video I made about him that morning, why he decommitted from Oregon State, and he reached out through Twitter. He DM'd me and said, you nailed it. You said exactly what I was thinking. It was just kind of an emotional decision, and we decided to hop on a video and just clear things up through an interview. So yeah, definitely interesting there with Brian. Again, he's just another mauler prospect listed at 6'8", 300 pounds. This has him at 6'5". That's not the truth. The guy who is from New Zealand. He didn't start playing football, I think, until last year. So definitely a project player in Brian Tapu. I don't think he's going to play within his first 1 to 2 years, but man, just a really nice guy, really down to earth. And he also said, I tried to explain him when we were done making our video. I tried to explain how conferences worked because and this is something I mentioned in my video. I said, a lot of these international players, they don't understand how conferences work. They don't understand like the Power Four, and they don't understand Group of Five. And I asked him, I said, do you know how like this has worked? Do you know that the Big Ten's like the best conference and the Pac-2 is on the decline? He said, no, I had no idea about that. So I tried to explain to the best of my ability to him. But yeah, he's a great guy. And we have more interviews coming up. Been reaching out to a couple of recruits, and we're going to definitely get them on the channel throughout the month of July. So watch out for that. A lot of you guys really liked that. So see what the chat's saying here about some of these new commits. I'm fired up, guys. Let's see. We got Miller North. Ooh, yikes. Miller North. Nah. Papillion, B-Town, Bellevue. Okay. Houston's a great grab. SJ next, please. Yeah, we'll get to SJ later in the live stream. What's going on in his recruiting process for sure. Second year, we got the number 1 from Hawaii. Absolutely. Yep, we got the number 1 from Hawaii last class in President Tamoa. President Tamoa was a 4-star. This guy might already be better, and he's a 3-star. That tells you how, honestly, underrated he is. So let's get into the next thing I wanted to address here in this live stream. And let's go to, here, hold on, let me pull this up real quick on my screen. This is Chase Loftin, right? So obviously the Chase Loftin news dropped last night that he will be committing to Florida State. And a lot of people are saying, oh, it's not over. Nebraska might land him. It's over, right? Florida State obviously came in, swooped him up. He loved his visit over there. And this is something I've been saying for months. If you've been following my channel, my recruiting videos, I said I do not think Chase Loftin is the favorite. And yes, although he came on an official visit 2 weeks ago and things started to trend in the right direction for the Huskers, they still had a lot of ground to make up, right? I'm a Millard South kid. A lot of you guys know that, right? So Chase Loftin went to my high school second semester. He transferred in from Elkhorn North. And for that reason, I have a lot of intel about Chase Loftin and his recruiting process. Florida State and Kansas State, those two schools were at Millard South the most peer recruiting him, okay? Or not peer recruiting, just bringing the entire staff and talking to him. There was one day where Florida State was there at like 5 a.m. to talk to Chase Loftin. So Florida State, they've been hot on his trail for a very long time. Nebraska, they had a lot of ground to make up, and they didn't do it. I think this is a miss. A lot of people, they're saying that the tight end room for Nebraska is stacked. I don't think that's the case. I mean, let's just pull this up, right? Nebraska, let's just actually pull up the scholarship chart here for us. So looking at the scholarship chart for Nebraska, I hope they can let me access this. Perfect. Okay. Of course, let's talk not this year, but next year. Okay, Thomas Fidone, let's just assume he's not here. Let's assume he breaks out, goes to the NFL. Okay, Nate Borgershire, well, let's say he's here. Okay, do you feel comfortable about this room going into next year without Thomas Fidone? Okay, let's just say Carter Nelson's the starter. Then you have a bunch of unproven guys after that. Like the tight end room has a bunch of players in there, just not a bunch of talent or a bunch of proven commodities. So for that reason, I think it is a miss on Chase Loftin. We know how much the staff wanted him. They were going after him very hard at the end, but again, they had a lot of ground to make up. And Chase Loftin, just one of those kids who might not be sold on staying in Omaha and staying in Nebraska, right? Because him and Christian Jones, like those are the two best players in Nebraska this class. Both of them are considering outside schools very heavily. Both of them might not want to stay in Nebraska for the next 4 years of their life. And Christian Jones is a player that I honestly think Nebraska doesn't have the greatest odds at. I mean, that brings us, let's just go over to him real quick. Christian Jones. So Nebraska misses out on the number 2 player. Now this is the number 1 player. It's us or Oklahoma, right? Let's not confuse ourselves. I mean, Auburn obviously took an OV there. It's not going to be Auburn. It's not going to be USC. It's us or Oklahoma. If I were to make an odds on where Christian Jones is going to commit, I would say 75% Oklahoma, maybe 25% Nebraska. He loves his official visit at Norman. I mean, it's ridiculous what they're doing, right? They're going hard to get Christian Jones. And of course, you look here, you got the predictions, and it doesn't mean much to me, really. Again, both of these are coming in after his OV, but at the end of the day, a lot of times we like to hype up the end of these official visits. Like, for example, Michael Terry went to Texas, and right off the bat, he got a crystal ball for them. It doesn't really mean much coming after an official visit. You want to wait a couple weeks and then see what happens. So, again, remember, Chase Loftin also got a crystal ball right when he was done with his Nebraska visit. Didn't mean anything. So, the same thing here with Christian Jones. I don't love our odds. Another guy who's probably going to commit late July, even mid-July. I don't expect an announcement this week. So I wanted to talk about Christian Jones here, but let's see what the chat's saying. Before we start to talk about Michael Terry and a couple other these guys, a little update around them. See how everybody's doing tonight. Holy cow, I got a lot of stuff to catch up on. Here we go. Let's see. Explains the 4 stars on your last video's thumbnail. Hope Houston is as good as you think he is. Okay, that was actually a mistake by me. I used the same format for my commit videos, so I accidentally copy and pasted one from, I want to say, I don't even know what it was from. I think it was from the Chase Loftin commitment video that I made that didn't actually end up releasing because it committed elsewhere. But I ended up copying and pasting it when I made the Houston Kaahaaina-Torres one. And yeah, that was on me. But he is a 3-star, but he should be a 4-star. Anyways, sorry for the little rant. Fongway says, maybe we should bring over St. Louis school senior class. Lol. Maybe. Melissa says, look how our offensive line has been. We will be better. Yep, our offensive line will be better for sure. Wilson, do you think we have a chance with Michael Terry? I will get to that Give me 10 minutes. We will absolutely get into Michael Terry. Watching from the Dominican Republic, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Does Raiola have a say in these recruits? Yes, he does have a say in these recruits. But it's not the Raiola we're thinking about. It's not the Dylan Raiola. It's the Donovan Raiola. That's the one who's going after him. We all one Husker family now, bud. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, look at Rhule out recruiting. Jesus. What? What are you talking about, man? Chat, what are you guys on about today? Sucks to lose Loftin, but our tight end room is very good. Yeah, I just don't agree with that. I really don't. I think it's the same conversation we have with the running back room. The running back room has a lot of bodies. It doesn't have a lot of pure talent. It doesn't have a lot of proven guys. Same thing with the tight end room. Like, I feel good about one guy right there, and that's Thomas Fidone. I don't feel good about anybody else. Carter Nelson right now is not a tight end. He's a wide receiver because he's not big enough to play tight end, so he's practicing with the wideouts. So, again, I don't even know if Carter Nelson will be a tight end. He got to gain weight, man. Got to gain weight. To this. Oh, man. Should not have put that one on the screen. Western Nebraska. Hey, appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. It's a miss for sure, but what position can we have a miss at? Really no position. If you're trying to recruit one of the best players in Nebraska, you don't want to miss out on any of these guys. But if we were to if you were to be okay with missing a prospect at a certain position, it'd be quarterback every day of the week because you have your quarterback for the next 3 years. Sydney, Nebraska, awesome. Appreciate you, Go Big Rule, getting that work in. Who's committing tomorrow we could get? Again, we'll get into that. Absolutely. Just trying to catch up here. I'm not sure he had a good visit means anything. I've never heard he had a horrible visit. I mean, you took the word out of my mouth, Alan. I mean, we said that earlier in a video about a week or two ago. Like, literally nobody says, after an official visit, yeah, my visit went terrible. That's never happened. So we oftentimes overreact after official visits and, pour the Kool-Aid. But again, we got to sit maybe, 1-2 weeks after it and then reconsider. We should get all the Omaha kids. That's treasonous. Again, we just burnt so many bridges inside of Omaha. Like, Scott Frost burnt so many bridges inside of Omaha. It's hard to rebuild those. And yeah, we've had good luck getting Tyson Terry and Caden Vermoss, but when it comes to the highly recruited Omaha kids, we've had trouble getting those guys in the past, and we still clearly do have that trouble. Do the top Nebraska prospects in 26 feel like they are looking out of the state too? Yeah, I don't want to really get into this just yet because it's stealing. I might as well. Yes, they are feeling like they want to go out of state. I'll just put that out there, right? Isaac Jensen, I talked about him in my video on Saturday. Would not be surprised if he leaves the state. Marion Jackson, the number one wide receiver inside Nebraska. Another guy who's from Millard South. He's mad that Nebraska hasn't offered him, and he probably will not be a Husker. He said, I don't want to, spoil whatever he said because I shouldn't be saying this on live, but he probably will not be a Husker even if we offer him or not because he's that mad the staff won't offer him despite the fact that other Midwest schools are. So, yes, top Omaha prospects likely want to go elsewhere in the class of 2026. So that's a problem. What position needs this biggest upgrade? Got to rewrite that, man. How much of an impact do you think Dylan has in recruiting? See, that's a tough question. I think he tries to go after, guys like Cortez Mills, Corey Sims. It's just tough to try to get these guys to Nebraska coming off a losing season. And honestly, he can't relate to these guys because he's not in the same class. And that was my thing with Dylan Raiola committed was, when quarterbacks commit to you, let's say in the class of 2024, they get guys in the class of 2024 to come with them, not guys, in the class beyond that. So that was my thing with Dylan was he committed so late he literally couldn't peer recruit. And he's trying to make up for it in the 25 class, and he doesn't know any of these guys, so it doesn't matter. What in the world is going on with TJ Latif's commitment and wide receiver Cortez Mills? So TJ Latif later said that, he's completely fine with Nebraska. Again, Husker Online basically prodded him, but I don't think he was telling the truth necessarily. Like, again, TJ Latif is a smart kid. He's always been a smart guy, and he keeps his options open, right? He understands that Nebraska is not the place where you're going to get instant playing time. You're not really going to get on the field that much. So he's keeping his options open. Again, I would put him maybe at a 50-50 shot that we land TJ Latif. That's not really because of our fault. That's because, he's a smart kid and he wants to go play, just like every other player. As for Cortez Mills, he's not coming to Nebraska. That's been known for a month or two now. He's probably going to commit to Oklahoma tomorrow. St. Louis school in Honolulu. Yep, that's the school that Houston's coming from. Yep. What do you think our final rank will be for the recruiting class of 2025? 30 at best. I mean, I don't know. It's not going to be great if we keep missing guys like this. Positive Mike says, I think Carter will move to wide receiver, but we got Berrettini, who I personally like. Yeah, Berrettini's a stud, man. All right, I'll get back to the comment section. Keep putting stuff in there, but I want to get to some of the other players who wanted to talk about. And this is a player who is going to be committing tomorrow, so watch out. We'll put this on the screen here for you. All right. Jeremiah Jones. This is a player, I mean, who's a complete stud, another underrated freak athlete. He's only, if you look at, I mean, right here, only 2 sites have given him a recruiting ranking, 24/7 and Rivals. But it should be noted, both of those rankings are very high. An 89 is the highest a 3-star could possibly be, and a 5.6 is, I think, the second highest a 3-star can be. So this is a borderline 4-star prospect, another diamond in the rough. And he's 6'6", he's 220. He plays anywhere in the secondary. He can play safety. He can play, honestly, nickel corner. He could even play corner. And you might even feel comfortable putting him at linebacker. So Jeremiah Charles, he's committing tomorrow. I believe it's at 3 or 4 p.m. Central. It's us for Louisville. Louisville has been after him a lot longer and a lot harder than we have been. But again, if he can commit tomorrow, that would mean a huge deal about how his official visit went. And this is a really, really big stud. So hopefully we can get him. I believe he only has, we're really his only 2 offers that are legit, us in Louisville. Murray State, Eastern Kentucky, Arkansas State. I mean, nothing really to go crazy about. But can you feel good about his talent? Another diamond in the rough. I mean, I know Matt Rhule doesn't like that term, but there's no other term I can use here. I mean, this is a player who is a lot better than, his offer list might indicate. So this guy, watch out for him. He's committing tomorrow. But let's talk about Michael Terry, guys. Let's talk about Michael Terry because this has been something that nobody's really reported on. I didn't want to make a video about it because it really wasn't that big of a deal. And I don't think we are going to get Michael Terry, so I don't want to continue to make videos about him. But let's pull this up. So this popped up a couple days ago on my feed. So Michael Terry tweeted out, follow me on Instagram, Go Big Red fans, it's not over. You can see here some tags. Oh, Wilson Nimitz Sports right there at the end. Just putting that out there. Of course, Michael Terry. But listen, he kind of baited Nebraska fans just a little bit, right? I mean, this is what recruits do all the time. They try to get these fans to follow their Instagram or follow Twitter and say, oh, it's not over, guys. Please follow me because I might commit to your school. I don't like our odds with Michael Terry, and the thing that I saw yesterday really shows that. Let's just pull this up here. So he has been doing a lot of workouts recently, doing a lot of 7v7, and I believe a beat reporter for Texas went to his scrimmage, and he said the Oregon and Texas visits moved the needle for him the most. Texas and A&M were also in the mix for a late July decision. So yeah, I mean, this confirms everything that we kind of already thought, that Texas was the front runner and that Oregon is also in the mix. I don't think Texas A&M is going to get him, and I don't think Nebraska is going to get him. Unfortunately, yeah, it looks like Michael Terry's done. It's something that's been going on for a long time now. We've been able to predict it for the last 2 weeks that he wouldn't be a Nebraska Cornhusker, but it sucks because if you asked me a month ago, 2 months ago, I really liked our odds. I really thought that the Huskers could have got him, but the end of the day, we didn't do enough. I think really the 2 reasons are NIL and the fact that he wants to go to a winning program right at the bat. I mean, Texas is a winning program. They just made the college football playoff. Oregon is a winning program. We are not. It's tough to really get a guy like this when we're going up against brawlers like that. So I want to address the NIL thing because a lot of people have been kind of, I don't want to say they're giving me a bunch of backlash for the NIL, but they disagree with me. Our NIL, don't get me wrong, is not bad. Okay. It's probably top 25, top 20. The problem is it is not top 10. It is not top 5. Oregon, without a doubt, has a better NIL collective than us. Okay, they have Nike. Texas A&M, by far have better NIL collectives than us. Alabama, Georgia, LSU, by far better NIL collectives than us. If you are doubting that as a Nebraska fan, I'm sorry, you need to wake up a little bit. Okay, our NIL collective is good enough to beat out teams like Illinois, Louisville, Colorado, honestly. It's good enough to beat out schools like that. It's not good enough to beat out schools like Oregon and schools like Texas. So that's why in my last live stream, I said that our NIL is not good enough, and it truly isn't. And until we bump it up, we're not going to get these 5 stars on the regular. We're not going to get these 4 stars on the regular. It's frustrating. But, how do you fix that? Well, number one, you got to put all this money that you're putting toward the stadium renovation and putting toward the facilities, you put that toward the NIL collective. Number two, you got to win football games because that gets the boosters excited to put your money into something. And number three, okay, you want to see proof that our NIL collective isn't good? You don't take it from me. Take it from Troy Dannon, our athletic director. Okay, when Troy Dannon got here in his introductory press conference, he mentioned the fact that our NIL is not where it needs to be, that the 1890, representation is not, you don't see anybody repping that. You don't see that online. You don't see people knowing what that is even. And he said, that's my main focus as the new athletic director of Nebraska, is to get the 1890 collective popular and, really get it up and going. And, after that, we've seen a bunch of these Nebraska head coaches, Matt Rhule, Fred Hoiberg, Amy Williams, they're repping the 1890 t-shirt, hat, everything. Okay, so Troy Dannon understands our NIL collective is not good. It still is not good, but it needs to get better in order to get these 5 stars. So that's really something that I want to address because, people disagreed with me on the last live. They said, Wilson, how dare you say that our NIL isn't good? If you think that Nebraska is out here beating LSU and SEC schools in Oregon for any of these 5-star prospects just using NIL, you're kidding yourself. Speaking of NIL, let's talk about a prospect we might also be missing because of NIL, and this is Alofaituli. So another player, if you asked me, even last week, I kind of like Nebraska's odds on, again, 5-star center according to ESPN. He loved his visit. He loved that down for Raiola. Again, man-to-man conversation, right? Talking with the staff, talking with Coach Rhule. In Miami, he went on an official visit last weekend there, and he loved it. And Miami has some Polynesian connections. Of course, they got a 5-star poly lineman last cycle, so he knows who that is. That was really a pure recruiting move by Miami, and right now got a couple crystal balls that came in for the Hurricanes, listed at 96. Another guy that you can't help but feel like NIL was a part of, right? NIL is big in Miami. They've got guys because they have a big booster program as well. So another miss here. Again, I assume he's going to commit probably this week. Again, the longer he waits, though, the more I like Nebraska's odds. Let's talk about Dawson Merritt here. One more guy before I get back to the comment section, start putting stuff in there because I'm going to address all of it. So we finally saw this week, 4 days ago, that Dawson Merritt committed to Alabama. Shocker, shocker. Big miss. Big miss for Nebraska. I really can't sugarcoat that any way else. Now, I do think it was interesting that his dad tweeted out the other day, Dave Merritt, on social media. He said that he tells Dawson all the time to never burn a bridge because you never know when you might cross it again. Interesting that his dad would mention that. So his dad's basically hitting at the fact that if Dawson Merritt is ever entered the transfer portal, Nebraska will be right up there again. Now, I think Dawson Merritt is a guy of high character. I think his dad is as well. And I also think Dawson Merritt is a freak athlete. For that reason, I think Dawson Merritt will get on the field pretty quickly for the Crimson Tide. And for that reason, I don't think he will ever wear a Nebraska uniform. So definitely a miss by the staff. Once again, we went all out for this guy. I can't blame Matt Rhule. I can't blame anybody. That's the way recruiting works. And we haven't won enough to get these type of guys consistently. That's just what I try to tell everybody. If you want to get Dawson Merritt in the future, guys like him, you've got to win football games. And, 5 wins from last year's not good enough, especially if you want to go to the NFL like this guy does. So another miss there for Nebraska. But don't worry, guys. We got a lot of commitments coming up this week. We'll get into that later in the show. But let's get back here to the comment section, see what everybody's talking about today. Let's go here. Hold on. Gotta catch up, everybody. Gotta catch up. All right. Got a guy from Minnesota. Awesome. Let's see. How do you feel about the cornerback room? Again, I don't love the cornerback room. Of course, you add Sire Wright. That's good that you mentioned that, though, because I was going to talk about Sire Wright later in the live stream. Listen, Sire Wright was definitely a good addition for Nebraska. I really like his ceiling. I think he has NFL potential. It's just all the off-the-field stuff is very concerning. Very concerning with a guy like him. He's got to figure out the acting stuff, but put it to the side, right? That's going to be back for you in a couple years, right? You can jump right back into acting like you never left. Again, I'm not an expert on how acting works and how that profession exactly operates, but I know that for a fact that if you were to just take a break from acting for 3-4 years, you're going to be fine, and you're not going to really miss it. But college football is not the same way. You only have a couple years in your life to commit to college football, come on, you got to go all out. So he definitely has got to put that to the side, put down whatever he's doing in acting, because it's not as important as potentially getting to the NFL and making bank for the foreseeable future in your life. As for Zaire Wright, again, potential's through the roof. Hopefully he figures it out off the field. You feel good about Tommy Hill. The rest of it, the depth, pretty poor. So I'm not going to get too into it, though. I have a video coming out a week from today talking about the secondary, my last position to preview for the summer. Hey, real quick, before I get to the rest of the comments, make sure to hit that like button on the stream. Really help me out. We're sitting about 38 likes. Let's get that up to 50, everybody. Hit that like button. Also, again, if you're on social media, I know a lot of people are on Twitter. If you're on Instagram, I'll make sure to follow every single one of you guys back. So take some time, follow me there, Wilson News Sports on Twitter, and of course, Wilson Dimon on Instagram. But let's get back here to the comments. Hope everybody is having a good night here talking some Nebraska football. Adam says the weather, especially in the winter, is brutal. I think it's a deterrent for recruiting. I don't think that really has too much of a say. It's not. I mean, Michigan does not have any problem. Ohio State does not have any problem with the winter. Trust me. How important is Christian Jones? Incredibly important. Incredibly important. If you want to lock down the 402 for the next couple of years, you get a guy like Christian Jones. You cannot miss the two best players inside Nebraska. That's a bad look. It doesn't matter that Nebraska got Caden Vermoss and Tyson Terry and Connor Booth and Pierce Mooberry and Jackson Carpenter. Okay? Those guys are not four-star prospects. The two four-star prospects you have in the state are both considering other schools. One is already committed. One is close to committing elsewhere. You got to get those guys or else it doesn't matter. A 6'6" safety is crazy. Yeah, man, he's a stud. He's a stud. Rhule's inheriting a horrible rep. Huskers recruiting going back 10 years. It takes time to rebuild, starting with winning. Correct. Got to win. Do you have any update with Bly Hill? Yep, he's not going to be playing the first two games. Expect that. I don't think he'll be back until Big Ten play, right? Until we get into, the Illinois of the world, the Purdue's of the world, right? He will not be back by Colorado, at least with the way it's trending as of right now. Why are we missing out on so many recruits? Is it NIL? Did the coaching staff just work really hard, just work harder last year? I mean, we act like last year's recruiting class was that good. Last year's was all right. But again, it's a lot easier to sell those guys a vision. Okay, you landed a bunch of 4-stars last cycle without Matt Rhule having a single season at Nebraska. Now, Matt Rhule has one season under his belt as Nebraska, and he won 5 games. So because of that, you're probably going to recruit a little bit worse until you get that wins up. No Lambo, no Terry. Maybe. Yep. We absolutely need to up our NIL. No question. I just need to convince Warren Buffett to donate to Husker football and cancer research. Absolutely do that. Absolutely. Do you think we will for sure get Christian Jones or Will Hawthorne from Iowa? Both of them are unsure. Both of them. And Christian Jones, 75% for Oklahoma. Will Hawthorne, 55% Iowa State, 45% Nebraska. Again, he grew up a Cyclone fan. He's right outside of Ames. So, again, both of those I don't necessarily love our odds with, but I do think Will Hawthorne is the more likely candidate. Boosters don't care about NIL. But why would boosters care about the facilities? That's your question. I think boosters care a lot more about NIL than they do with the facilities. 1890 needs campaign. You're darn right they need a campaign. They do a lot better than whatever they're doing. SJ would be a giant grab. Got to play some defense because Miami's going after him hard. Not going to answer that, man. Let's see. They missed on every high-profile recruit they went after. TJ Lateef, for now, that was a high-profile guy. Jamarian Parker, that was a high-profile guy, but you're not wrong, and I get it, right? We missed out on Dawson. We're going to miss out on Michael. We're going to probably miss out on SJ, but yeah. Do you know what Nebraska's alternate uniform this year is going to be? No. They're probably going to announce it late July, maybe August, and knowing Nebraska, let's be real. We talked about this last live stream. It is going to be the worst alternate jersey we've ever seen. Let's just look at the past ones. Let's pull it up, guys. Let's look at the past Nebraska alternate jerseys and how much of a joke they are. Okay, so last year's, I think it was a stripe. Okay, this looks like our normal uniform. This is our exact normal uniform. What's different about it? There's a blue stripe around the numbers. It's pathetic. So thanks Adidas, thanks Nebraska for that one. That was an awful alternate uniform. They literally put like a slight tweak in the uniforms. Like, oh, it's an alternate, guys. Everybody celebrate. We're honoring the 1952 team. I mean, let's look at the 2022 ones. These ones were also a very slight tweak. I mean, they basically took our uniform, which is already very simple, and simplified it even more. Took away our patch and everything. So back-to-back years, we've had like the lamest alternates. 2021 was actually not terrible. We had, of course, we wore this against Buffalo, so I want to see him actually in game. I mean, these were like I actually kind of like these uniforms. And they had the little NU on the side of the helmet. Those were actually kind of fire. I'm not going to lie. Those were fire. Of course, 2020 and 2019, we had the all blacks, which I said in the past, I do not like those. You got to get rid of the red script from them. Remember these actually? They came out in the offseason and said we were going to wear these. We never wore those. We never wore those one time. To this day, we have never wore that. So I don't get, that was just the biggest joke of all time as well. Let's look at 2018's alternate uniforms. These were trash. Again, they're honoring some random team in the past. I don't get it. 2017, I'm just going to keep going. This is basically the exact same as the 2022 ones. Again, just slight tweak. Very slight tweak. 2016, these were the last good ones. Here we go. The all white, they got basically the chrome going on. You wore these good Northwestern. Those were fire. Go back to those. Let's just go back to 2012 here. These were bad. These were pretty. I don't even know what they were doing with those. This was basically the exact same thing, but red. Also pretty poor. I do not remember wearing these at all. When did we wear these? Huh. Yeah, I don't remember wearing those. And of course, 2012, the infamous 2012 ones. You know what's funny? The last time we beat Wisconsin was in 2012, and we were wearing this uniform. So if we want to beat Wisconsin this year, might as well bring these back. So yeah, we've had some pretty garbage alternate uniforms the last couple of years. I'm hoping we go all whites. Just give me an all white. Let's say, screw it. Let's say Ohio State, all whites. Who says no? Let's say we go into that game 7-0. That'd be sick. That'd be awesome, man. So, interesting to look back at that. Well, at least we got the Polynesian connection going. Lived in Utah and Hawaii. Strongest people on earth. Absolutely, man. Those Polynesian kids are different. Absolutely different. Oh, my gosh. Hey, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. We've seen some Nebraska players go off the deep end a couple times. Doing not some stuff off the field. How do we stand on Bryson Weber? Okay, so I talked about this in my past live streams, but recruits watch my videos, and a lot of times they contact me, or they contact me through Instagram or Twitter. So I've been talking with Bryson Weber for the past week or so, and he said that he is going to be on a trip from last week. I think he's on a trip this week as well, so he's not going to be home in Texas. So I think Nebraska stands very well with Bryson Weber. I put us about 60-65% shot. TCU's the other school in the mix, but he's not going to come in until probably after this week, because he's apparently on a road trip. Bring back Sims. Yep, of course. We always have to have that discussion once every live stream, guys. Once every live stream. I heard Christian is leaning Nebraska. According to who? The 24/7 site who put in crystal balls after he took an OV? He's not leading Nebraska. Trust me on that one. He's definitely leading Oklahoma against 65-70% chance. Now, that doesn't mean Nebraska doesn't have a shot, and that doesn't mean if he were to come into Nebraska, you guys would come at me and be like, Wilson, what do you mean? He ended up coming to the Huskers. Like, we still have an opportunity, but he's not leading Nebraska. He hasn't leaned Nebraska one single time in his recruiting process dating back 3 years ago. Got to win football games. Got to win football games. If we see at least one running back hit the portal come fall, who do you predict it would be? Well, the portal's closed from now, I believe, until December. So we're not going to see anybody hit the portal. We could see somebody quit the team, but I don't think that's going to happen. Troy says, my understanding about Wright is he went to USC in order to be in an area close to pursue an acting career. I think him choosing Nebraska, he's willing to take football more serious. Listen, you're right on that. I mentioned that in my video. Yeah, he committed to USC the first time around because he wanted to get close to Hollywood. I think him committing to Nebraska wasn't more so I want to get away from acting. It's that he understands that this is the last chance for his football career. I think really that's about it. What is 1890? Go Big Roll. That is our NIL collective. That's the official name for it. Which, by the way, it's a terrible name. I don't know why they named it the 1890 Collective. I mean, that does not roll off the tongue. If you look at a lot of these other NIL collectives and what they're called for other programs around the country, I mean, it's really easy and it's alliteration. Like ours is 1890, and it means that's when the football program started. I mean, it's just stupid. The whole thing is a debacle. They like the comfy seats and amenities more than NIL. Negative, Mike. I was referring to facilities, meaning the practice facilities. Okay. Boosters do not care about the facilities, meaning practice facilities and student life facilities, more than they do the NIL. Trust me on that one. Yes, maybe they care more about the stadium renovation. We've seen that in the past, that they, sway things, and I've talked about that in past lives. I'm livid. The whole stadium renovation is a joke, but they care about NIL. We just are not marketing it the way we should. They did $500 last year, Eric. No phone. I like the Chrome surrender rights. Yep. Those were the best. And here's what I hate. It's good that you mentioned this, Drizzle Stick. People always say the all whites are cursed, or they say the all reds are cursed. We haven't made a bowl game since 2016. Every single uniform we wear is cursed. Every single one. We could roll out there wearing blue, and I would not care if we won the football game. So Nebraska's fan base is ridiculous because they will complain. They'll be like, the all whites, the surrender whites, or the all reds, those are cursed. We're cursed in every uniform, guys. But yeah, I agree. Those were fire. I like the all reds. I disagree there. I think the all reds are garbage. We haven't worn the all reds in 30 years. I mean, it's been a long time. I think it was Oklahoma 83 last time we wore those. Bring back the cream helmets, not white. 7-5 floor, 9-3 ceiling. 7-5 is not our floor, man. Not our floor. Our floor is 4-8. We haven't made a bowl game in 7-8 years. Okay, 7-5 isn't our floor. It's not worst case scenario. Trust me. We can hit rock bottom. We can hit rock bottom. The 2021 number design looked bad. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Pretty bad. Adidas kills in recruiting. The recruits want to rock Nike. Well, I don't even think it's the rocking part. I don't think it's the jersey aspect of it, right? Because if you look at Nike recently, Nike is making some horrid uniforms. Have you seen Baylor's new uniforms, TCU's new uniforms? Those are garbage. Nike's screwing up a lot of unis. So I don't think Adidas really messes around. I think the jerseys Adidas does make for us are pretty bad too. But the problem is Adidas does not give us as much NIL money as Nike schools are probably getting. So I know Oregon is getting a band. I mean, they're getting lots from Nike. We are not getting close to that. Am I the only one that doesn't like what they chose the NIL collective name? Yep. It's bad. Real bad. Really bad. Yep. Our floor is 0 until proven otherwise. Completely agree. Our floor is not 7. We have not made a bowl game in 8 years, guys. And I've been trapped in a cycle of Kool-Aid before, and don't worry, I'm a very Kool-Aid, but we have to be realistic. Our floor is 4 wins, probably. Maybe even 3 wins. Our ceiling, 9, 10 wins. That's a 8-7 game fluctuation. It's Nebraska football for you. It's Nebraska football for you. I think the whole concept of having one alternate is dumb. Just mix things up instead of one insane alternate. Exactly. I agree. Now, this is something that we've talked about all the time, Dad, is that we just change them up. We just have to have fun. We have to have fun as a program. That's what all these new programs are doing. Again, Oregon changes up their uniforms every single game, right? People like that. The fact that we should only have the black uniforms that are alternate, that's stupid. Let's change it up. Let's have fun. Let's go crazy. And by change it up, I don't mean have a blue stripe, which is a joke. While alternates are cool, I think we best focus on winning. You're right. Come on, it's the offseason, man. We can talk about whatever we want because how can we focus on winning in June? I get that comment, though. I understand, but come on. Is Michael Terry 5-star gone? Yep, we talked about that earlier. He's gone. He wants to win. Indeed. Fongway says, did I hear that some crazy person brought up the idea of bury people underneath the stadium? I heard that as well. I think it was cremation even. I have no idea. That's odd when you switch to Nike. Honestly, if I had my choice, we would switch to Jordan. That's the place to be. Jordan's the new wave. 6-7 would be an improvement. Correct. Nike's falling off. I agree. But they do have money. That's the problem. They have money. Under Armour actually has the best gloves. Nah. Nike has the best gloves. Nike stock is tanking. That's it, guys. We're not moving to Nike anymore. Their stock is doing horrid. I've seen that, though. Yeah, their stock is on the decline big time. When Nebraska wins, we'll get our recruits. Correct. Memorial Stadium built on ancient Indian burial ground. It's funny. Who's our starting running back? It's going to be Emmett Johnson. Maybe Gabe Irvin's also in that mix. Again, Gabe Irvin has started almost every single game he's been healthy for. Like, people don't give him enough credit in the past. They say, oh, Emmett Johnson, Dante Dowdle. Like, Gabe Irvin's really good. I was watching the Colorado game earlier with my dad, man. I mean, he had a pretty good game despite how bad the rest of the team played. Gabe Irvin's a pretty good back, so he's going to be in the mix there. I don't think Dante Dowdle's going to start. That's my hot take. That's been my take for a while now. Dante Dowdle's going to be in the mix, but he's not going to start. Alabama, Michigan don't change uniforms. Michigan changes uniforms. Well, Michigan has basically the same thing we do, where we have red, white, and then we also have the black. They have the blue, the white, and then they have the maize. So they do technically switch uniforms, but Alabama doesn't, which I think's lame. Like, why not change up your uniform every day? Every now and then. God's Hammer says, man, I wish I could watch right now, but have to come back later. Absolutely, man. Go Big Red, dude. Absolutely. Negative Mike says, a ton of mediocre running backs, no home run hitters. Completely agree. Completely agree. That's the problem with this running back room. That's the problem with a lot of this team, is that we don't have a bunch of home run hitters. We have a bunch of guys who are good depth pieces, but not players who you're necessarily going to see in the NFL. So I think you feel good about Emmett Johnson. You feel good about his potential. You think that he could be one of the better Big Ten running backs. Gabe Irvin, same way, but I don't see that necessarily with Dante Dowdle, not just yet. So I agree with you, Negative Mike. I would be ecstatic with such a Jordan. Yeah, man, Jordan's fire. I mean, Michigan's now with Jordan, North Carolina. I believe Oklahoma's now with Jordan. There's a couple other programs. I want to say UCLA's with Jordan. Jordan's fire. Jordan is absolutely fire. I remember when I think North Carolina was the first team to switch, and I thought, oh, that's stupid. They have Jordan on their uniforms. A couple years later, I looked like an idiot because Jordan's really, that's the wave. That's the wave, man. Yep, Michigan's Jordan. Yep. Isn't there a junior college running back or two that they've brought in? We haven't necessarily brought in a JUCO running back. We brought in Mekhi Nelson, who's a prep kid. Well, he wasn't even a prep kid. He was a high school kid who was going to go to prep school and then ended up not going to prep school. So, no, we have not brought in a JUCO running back. I think we brought in an NIAA receiver the other day, though. If Ramir can stay healthy, he could finally break out. We've been saying that for the last 6 years. He is literally going into year 6. So, we could see. I think Ramir I think he broke out in 2021, and then ever since then, he hasn't been healthy, and he's been benched, and all of that. So, I agree. But it's his last year to prove it, dude. All right, I want to get into some of the guys who are probably going to commit this week, if not next week. I've already talked about some of them on the live. Some of them I have not talked about yet. Of course, these 3 guys right here, Ale Kalanivalu is not coming to Nebraska. Cortez Mills not coming to Nebraska, and then Christian Jones not coming to Nebraska, probably as of right now. We still have a chance, though. Some of the other guys. Bryson Weber, you like our odds. Again, not going to commit to this week. Sean Hemmerbeck is interesting. Very interesting. I think we should get him 6'6", 250. If there's one school to watch out for, it's definitely Texas Tech. But another guy who's honestly, he's rated an 88 according to 24/7. That's a good rating for a 3-star. Noah King, he will not be committing anytime soon. He canceled his visit, but Nebraska is still up there in his recruiting process. It's just he's probably not going to come on campus until the fall. Cade Petruzek, Usser, Oklahoma, probably going to commit, if not this week, next week. Don't like our odds there. I think he's going to be a Sooner. Of course, Michael Terry, SJ Alofaituli, we dropped the ball. Quanell, again, I don't understand why they have us as a warm. Will Hawthorne should commit this week. Us or Iowa State. I give Iowa State the slight nod, but I think Nebraska probably gets him. Again, the thing about Will Hawthorne is that he loves the Big Ten, and he thinks the Big Ten's meant for him and the way he plays the game. It's hard to recruit a guy to the Big 12 with the uncertainty around there. So Will Hawthorne, definitely somebody who could be a Husker. Watch out for him. And again, he's a solid player. I mean, he's the number 1 linebacker in the state of Iowa. So, Aiden Manitai, he is committing, I believe, the 12th of July. So, a week from Friday. And Nebraska's definitely up in there. A lot of people aren't talking about him, but if not Nebraska, I'd say Tennessee and Washington. But yeah, I mean, he really liked Tennessee. I don't know how Tennessee's pulling all these Polynesian players out of nowhere. But Andy Manti, really good player, really good. He should be a 4-star as well. These Hawaii kids are underrated. As for those guys, that's really about it on commitment watch. We don't have too many others. So we're going to start to see guys commit over the next 2 weeks. We had a slow week last week until Brian Tapu and then, of course, Houston Kaahaaina-Torres. But Jeremiah Jones will sign the knot hopefully tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, again, a lot of stuff still going on. Then when we're sitting here basically mid-July, recruiting is done. I mean, even late July, recruiting will be over. Nobody will be committing. It's officially the dead period. And then we'll start talking about the upcoming season a lot because, I mean, there's no more recruiting to really talk about for a little bit. But let's take it back to the comment section, see what you guys are talking about. Hope everybody, hey, tell me what you guys got going on for the 4th of July. 4th of July is coming up a couple days, man. Scott Frost ruined a lot of players. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I mean, a lot of really talented 4-star, 5-star guys, or not even 5-star guys, but 4-star and 3-star guys, man, who I really liked. I mean, there was a guy, Jaden Francois. I don't know if any of you guys remember him. He was a Florida DB. Really felt good about him. Ended up decommitting, or not even decommitting. He transferred. Another guy, Henry Gray, really liked. Scott Frost ruined. Yeah, there's too many. There's too many. Is Irvin a senior? Technically, he's a junior. He has 1 year left. I don't think he'll come back next year. I think this is really it for him. Time to focus on 2027? No, you're thinking too ahead. 2026, bro. Nebraska hired a punting coach. It's a funny one. We should, because our punting is awful. Gabe is a redshirt sophomore. Incorrect. Now he's a redshirt junior now, so he has 1 more year. Us or Iowa State? My God. Yep. I mean, he grew up a Cyclone fan, man. I mean, come on. Grew up a Cyclone fan. If he doesn't get a boatload of carries next year, he's gone. I agree. I've never seen anything productive or eye-popping from Gabe Irving. Okay, I'm gonna address this comment because this is wrong. Tiger, shark, diver. Let's pull up the stats here for Gabe Irvin. Let's pull up the stats. Okay, productive. Productive is the word I'm going to choose to focus on from that. Okay. Last year, even though Gabe Irvin got hurt, I want to even say it was week 4 or even week 5, averaged 5 yards a carry. That was number 1 on the team. That's one of the best in the country, 5 yards a carry. After that, 4.7 yards a carry. The problem with Gabe Irvin is that he's got banged up literally every single year. But to say he's not been productive when he's on the field, that's just misinformation. Literally 5.2 yards a carry. Are you kidding me? That's not true. That was not true. Had to be convinced to stay this year, so I'm hurt. Gabe Irvin? Maybe. And Weeping Water? Yeah. I've seen a couple of Scott Frost pictures in Arizona. He's now living in Arizona. People are seeing him out and about. What do you think of the new German player? I think people are overrating him, honestly. And David Hofkin, I mean, listen, he's built like a grown man. Don't get me wrong. You saw the pictures. I'm sure all of you did, right? The veins just popping out of his shoulders. But another player who is learning to play football. Another guy who's a project. He's 21 years old. I don't know if he's going to be redshirted. It also should be noted how good our D-line is. So he's one of those boomer bust players. It's either we never hear his name ever again, or maybe he plays at the end of the year and you feel good about him going into 2025. Quinn Ives is going to be great in the next few years. Yeah, I like Quinn Ives a lot. I think a lot of people underrate him. He's a player who can do really anything. I mean, he's an all-purpose back. You feel good about him catching passes, making blocks, going in between tackles. He returned punts, he returned kicks. Yeah, so Quinn Ives, he can do it all. Thought Gabe Irvin looked pretty electric. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Gabe Irvin, when he's on the field, he has been Nebraska's best running back probably since Amir Abdullah. I mean, it sounds like a crazy statement to say. It sounds crazy, but really, when you look at the past running backs, it's not that wild. Actually, you know what? I'll say Gabe Irvin has been the best since Devine Osigbo. Ziggy was the best we've had since then. But after that, like, Gabe Irving has been better when he's on the field than Anthony Grant easily. He's been better than Dedrick Mills easily. And after that, I mean, there's really not many others. Maurice Washington, I mean, that's actually tough. Maurice Washington was a stud. Go Big Rhule. Will our recruiting take a dip for 2025 but go up for the class 2026? Win football games, and yes, it will. I mean, it will go up for the class 2026 if you win 8 games. If you win 6, it probably won't change much. If you win 5, it'll probably go down. So you got to win about 8 for it to go up. Our red game was Oklahoma 1976, or 86, not 83. Thank you. Could have swore it was 83. It might have been. Let me pull this up. Actually, let's fact check this. Let's fact check this. Nebraska versus Oklahoma, 1986. Okay, yep, you're right. I wonder if they also wore reds. No, they did not. Okay, so yep, you're right. I got my dates mixed up. You would know better than me. I was not living for that game, obviously. Okay, you're right. Gabe Irvin is never on the field. I mean, I agree. Same with Ramir, though. Same with Ramir. He's never on the field. Was Gabe out during the Big Ten season 2 years ago, though? Well, no, he's always been healthy to start the year. He's just got injured, like literally week 3, week 4. So, yep. Holy cow. A lot of comments came in here. So maybe he averaged 5 yards a carry against Cupcakes 2 years ago, if so. So maybe averaged 5 yards per carry against Cupcakes. Was Colorado a cupcake necessarily? I don't think so. Any insight on the Ole Miss decommitment? Yeah, Nebraska does not have too much of a shot there. Nebraska offered him. That was really about it. that was about it. I mean, Nebraska obviously trying to get on that recruiting process, but no. Usually when a guy decommits, he has a destination. Hope Malachi breaks out this year. Hope so too, man. Hope so. Really do. Didn't Gabe Irvin get called out by other coaches to transfer? If he did, I would not know. If he did, I would not know. Not on that one. Gabe Irving has also never had a line to run behind. Correct. Again, he averaged 5 yards a carry when our O-line was playing awful at the start of last year. Okay, we forget. When they played Colorado week 2, awful offensive line. Now, when they played Iowa at the end of the year, they were okay. But he was doing that with an awful trenches. So, again, give Gabe Irving some respect. Because time and time again, we sit here and we hype up Emmett Johnson, we hype up Dante Dowdle, but there's been a running back on our roster the last couple of years who's been way more productive than them. He's just injured. That's the only thing. Ramir's our best third down back and pass blocker. I agree. I completely agree. He is the best pass blocker by far. Again, but it's the same deal here, Tiger Shark. You can't sit here and hype up Ramir and not hype up Gabe Irvin because both of them cannot find their way on the field because they both get injured. I think switching from Adidas to Jordan will help recruiting too. Yep, I agree. I agree, man. CU fans are delusional. Yep, they are. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw my video a couple days ago when I got a Colorado fan on my channel. We talked about the game, and I got a lot of Colorado comments, as I knew I would. And they're sitting there saying that Nebraska has no chance in that game, that Colorado's going to put up 45 on our heads, and that Shedeur Sanders win Heisman. By far, I mean, if we were to make a Mount Rushmore of the most delusional fan base in college football, Colorado would be right up in there. I don't even know who else would be in there. Miami would be up there. Texas would be up there. That's your 3. Maybe one. The fourth one, let's say Ohio State even. Ohio State fans are pretty bad. If only we kept Frank Solich. Dude, that's 20 years in the past. 20 years in the past. How do we even get Abdullah? In recruiting? I mean, that was a long time ago, man. Abdullah was, I believe, like a low 4-star. We were also a lot better as a program. German player is also 21 years old and was going against 17, 18-year-olds in camp. Completely agree. Like, people, again, I think people are a little bit overrating him. Like, yeah, he's a grown man. Doesn't necessarily mean he can play football. Gabe had a good game as a freshman. Yeah, I mean, again, Gabe Irvin's a good player. Ramir has way more stats. It's not true. Not true. Ramir Johnson did not play at all in 2022. He barely played last year. He only played really in 2021. So not true there. And also should be noted, Ramir only played when other guys in the running back room got banged up like a Gabe Irving. So again, I'm a Ramir guy. I've hyped up Ramir for years. However, I'm not going to let you disrespect Gabe Irving when they're literally in the exact same boat. Come on. Colorado's a cupcake. Colorado beat us last year, dude. Colorado was not a cupcake when we played them last year. Their D-line was solid. I mean, their D-line produced a lot of really good guys. So, Colorado is not a cupcake. A cupcake is a Northern Iowa. That's a cupcake, dude. What do you think about team speed on defense this year? I mean, I love the speed, dude. I love it. I love it. I mean, we got Tommy Hill runs a 4.3. Like, just talking secondary. Tommy Hill 4.3. Sayer Wright 4.3. Looking at the linebackers. You have Stephon Thompson, who's probably not the speediest in the world. He's strong, though. You have Mekhi Gabear, who's a freak athlete. Vincent Shavers, who's a freak athlete. Budo Wright, who's a freak athlete. And then on the D-line, you also have Princewell Manmilam, who's a freak athlete. So the speed is awesome. And that's something that Tony White talked about when he got here, was that I want speed in that 3.35, and it's finally living up to his word. So definitely liking the way our defense is looking, specifically in that speed department. Mostly at linebackers, too, because we have not had speed. You know, I talked about the linebackers in my videos today, and I said, although Luke Reimer and Nick Henrich were very productive Big Ten linebackers, they didn't move the needle because they weren't athletic, right? They weren't outrunning running backs. They weren't making a play from sideline to sideline to get a big tackle for their team, okay? Because they weren't athletic freaks. They weren't Levante David players, right? That's different. We're getting these Levante David type of guys back. If Ives was good, they would have used him last year. We did use him last year. We played him. We had him return kicks for us. So he did play. He did play. Dion said, Colorado's definitely not going to be easy. Yep, I agree. Like, again, let's give Colorado some respect here. I don't think Colorado makes a bowl game. I'll say that right off the bat. I do not think Colorado makes a bowl game. However, Colorado, when I was doing a deep dive into them with my video a couple days ago, like, there's talent there. There really is. Like, I think there's a lot of coaching issues. I think there's a lot of developmental issues. Shedeur Sanders, it's a top 10 quarterback in college football. They have a top 10 receiver core in college football as well. Their O-line, which was horrendous last year, is getting a little bit better. Their D-line is also pretty good. So, and of course, it's a Deion Sanders coach team, so you know that secondary is going to be all right. So, listen, Colorado is not a cupcake. Colorado is not a joke of a team. I think they're going to be a little bit improved. Now, am I saying they win 9 games? Absolutely not. Am I saying they even win 7 games? No. But they're a good opponent, and they're going to be a hard win for us. So I agree with you, Dion. How come nobody mentions IGC? I agree with you. Nobody really mentions IGC, and IGC is a really good player. I mean, the guy, we forget about that 2022 Northwestern game in Ireland. IGC was literally the only guy who showed up and played good. Now, after that, he entered the portal and then came back, whatever. But I do think he gets a lot of run this year because I think this wide receiver room is going to get banged up and then, might not be as good as we think it is because it usually is that way. CU's D-line will be improving with Sapp. Yep. Warren Sapp is their new, I don't know if he's necessarily their D-line coach or he's just an assistant on their D, but yep, Warren Sapp is now there. And Warren Sapp's a great coach. I'm a Washington Commanders fan. Feel free to roast me in the comments. But Warren Sapp went to multiple Commanders practices in the past, and yeah, he's a phenomenal coach. So their D-line's going to be good too. So give Colorado some respect because that's going to be a game that's going to be a struggle. That's going to be a struggle bus for us if we do not figure it out. Because he was recruited as a DB or scat back. Not sure who you're referring to here. Ohio State is up there, but at least they are one of the few who can back it up. Oh, you're referring, yeah. As for the cocky fan bases, yeah. I agree. I hate Ohio State fans. I believe Dowdle is going to surprise people and have a breakout year. Go Big Red. I like Dante Dowdle. I think the ceiling is very high for him, but Emmett Johnson, Gabe Irvin, in my opinion, are the real deal. It's going to be tough for him to get playing time. Next year is his year, in my opinion. But I could see him break out as we get to the later half of the season, especially when a running back or two goes down, which we know is going to happen. He wanted to play running back, and Bo was the only one willing to let him play running back. Oh, you're talking to Amir. Okay, you're talking about Amir. Yep. Okay. Yep, Amir Abdullah, and he was I believe he was a low 4-star. Again, that was a decade ago plus, man. That was a different era of college football recruiting. Different era. And we were winning football games. I know I've asked you before, but what do you think about Roger Gradney? Yeah, so Roger Gradney, 4-star corner out of Texas. He's not bad. I mean, he's a physical player. He can play safety. He can play corner. He can play nickel. He can play rover. So I like that positional flexibility. Now, do I think he's a 4-star prospect? I do not think he's a 4-star. I think he's probably a high 3-star. I think he has a good ceiling, but I don't think he's going to contribute this year. And I think that's pretty evident because the hype really in that cornerback room among the true freshmen has been Mario Buford and Larry Tarver. Any chance we could land freak defenseman transfer Bobby Boucher? Bro, what are you talking about, bro? Come on. Yep. Okay. Man, we're talking about recruiting cycles from a decade ago. Love it. Love it. Do we really need a good recruiting class this year? We need a good recruiting class every year. Every single year we need a good recruiting class. If you want to be a competent program, if you want to be a top 10 program, you need one. Now, we don't need a big class necessarily. We probably are going to only sign 20, 22, maybe even 25 guys in this class, but you want those guys to be quality. Well, this is the only reason they beat us last year is because we had a quarterback that would hand them the ball. You're darn right. I mean, oh gosh, I don't know if my dad is still watching this live stream, but again, I was watching with him, I believe Tuesday, man, and it was painful to watch. I will say, the reason we lost that Colorado game, turnovers, like you mentioned, Melissa, but number 2, our secondary got worn out. Okay, we were doing really good in the first half when our defense was on the field, and they were doing pretty well against Travis Hunter and Xavier Weaver, but they were consistently on the field because we kept giving them the football. The defense got tired out, and that wide receiver core was too good to hold in the entire game, and yeah, they started to heat up. Did we get the guy from USC? Yep, we did. We did. Cornerback is the most concerning position. Yeah, I agree. I've said that as well. I think corner, that's just that depth, but you feel good about the top end. You feel good about Tommy Hill. Now, if we didn't have Tommy Hill, holy crap, we'd be screwed. IGC had one TD catch enter the portal, and then nobody wanted him and came back. Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true. And that happens a lot. That was always a weird thing, though, when Isaiah Castaneda entered the portal because his parents were at the game. I believe, I can't remember who we played. I mean, it was in Buffalo even, was the next week. And his parents said how much they loved Lincoln. And then he literally entered the portal like a day after. It made no sense. Let's not forget about Jacory Barney. Oh yeah, Jacory Barney's a stud. He is a stud. He's gonna be a heck of a player. The Nebraska struggle is real. Dylan will be the Heisman running for the next 3 years. This year, I think people are gonna be a little bit. I think people are going to be a little bit surprised about Dylan this year. I think he's going to have a little bit of struggle. I think he's going to struggle just a little bit. Just a little bit, right? Like that Colorado game gets a really good secondary. That's a perfect game, man. But I think he's going to be probably Big Ten all-freshman team. And after that, he should be in the Heisman running. But not this year. Abdullah was very good in Alabama. Just like I knew Hartsock would be very good as Mr. Football of Mississippi with low offers. You know who was another really good player from Alabama? Cam Taylor-Britt, bro. Holy crap. I mean, talk about a guy who played every single position on the field. As a football fan, you've never seen The Water Boy? Yeah, never seen it. You caught me. You caught me. Well, I'm more of a Remember the Titans fan myself. Will you play viewers in College Football 25 when it comes out? We'll see. I'm going to stream that. I think that Monday I'm going to stream literally the second it comes out. I'm still trying to figure out how to set that up, but we'll see. I'm going to set up my dynasty first. That's really what I'm going to do. Northwestern. All right. So keep putting stuff here in the chat. I'm going to get to one more bit, and then we might wrap things up in just a little bit. But let's talk about where Nebraska recruiting goes from here in the class of 2026. So 2026 is just heating up, folks. I talked about this on my video on Saturday. Of course, we talked about Dayton Raiola plenty of times and how much of a raw prospect I think he is. But let's talk about some of the other players Nebraska's after, not Dayton. If it wants to load. All right. So these are the quarterbacks Nebraska offered. It should be noted that of the 18 that Nebraska has already tried to get, 9 of them are already committed, or now 19. So that just shows you how fast the recruiting cycle is already moving. Oscar Rios is a player Nebraska was heavily after. They offered him a couple weeks ago, and they really wanted him, and he committed to Purdue. So we're not in a great spot when it comes to these quarterbacks. Again, Landon Duckworth, don't expect us to get him. Jonah Williams, same way there. This is a class where you want to get a good quarterback. Okay, fine. Let's say you don't land TJ Lateef in 2025. Whatever. But you've got to get someone in the class 2026. That's a non-negotiable, and you prefer for it to be a very good player. Dayton is just not ready. He's not ready. That's why Nebraska is actively offering other prospects. But I just don't know if we get these guys. We don't really have any intel yet. We don't have any intel. Of the guys, I want to see Champ Davis here. Nebraska kid. Deshaun Prince, Nebraska kid. See, we don't even have guys who pop up here who are, even warm. Jackson Kent, we talked about him. He should be warm. Isaac Jensen should be warm. But, yeah. Man, I mean, this 2026 class, it's make it break it, dude. It's make it break it. I want to look here really quick about some of these guys who are in particular states. So, let's get into, I want to see Iowa's kids here in the class 2026. Okay, Jaden McGregory, Aiden Jacobson. Okay. So Iowa, once again, churns out a couple 4-stars every single class. They literally do it all the time. Let's look at Kansas. And should be noted, literally all these guys probably have Nebraska offers. Once again, look at that. Kansas has a top 100 tight end. What is this, a third year in a row? Another top 100 prospect. Maxwell Robinson. Man, Kansas is just getting better, guys. Kansas is just getting better. Let's look at South Dakota. Hudson Parliament, talked about him in my recent video. High 3-star, should be a 4-star. And that kind of wraps up. Let's look at one more. Let's look at Illinois. So, again, Nebraska, they have an opportunity to really make some waves here in the Midwest. But, man, you got to start winning now and get these guys on campus. Yeah, so pretty good recruiting class for the Midwest. Pretty good. And again, all those guys have Nebraska offers. All right, let's get back to the comment section here again. Make sure, guys, hit that like button on the stream. Make sure to follow me if you're on Twitter. If you are on Instagram, I will follow all of you guys back. Do not worry. Just hit me with a follow. Again, talking some Huskers. All right. Melissa says, we have 80 freshmen and true freshmen, so the class will be small, plus we don't know if they put a number on how many players. Yeah, they might cap out how many players on the team, but I mean, you are right, but we still need to have a good recruiting class. We still need to get about 20 guys in this class because players enter the portal. I mean, of those 80 guys, how many do you guys think they're going to be back next year? Maybe 60? So 20 of them are going to leave. Like that's realistic. Catch 50 says, I love your work doing Miller South football games, but I'm a Miller North fan. Hey, appreciate that. That's, I think, first or second time somebody's recognized me on this channel. I would have thought there had been more, but yeah, it was the guy for Millard South football play-by-play the last 2 years, so appreciate that. Hey, Miller North's on the come-up, dude. They're going to be on the come-up for sure. They're getting better. Let's see. Dion says, Melissa, correct. After the season over, we will be nothing but redshirt freshmen and freshman-dominated team, I believe. Yeah, we have a big senior class. TJ Lateef gave some love to Nebraska. Listen, when I saw that Husker Online article that he was hyping up the Huskers, I don't think it really moved the needle for me at all. It was basically him playing a little bit of defense, saying, okay, I'm not going to decommit anytime soon. I'm solid where I'm at for now. Don't overreact, but I might still be considering other schools. So I wouldn't overreact about that. Appreciate that, Tiger Shark. I hope so too, Dion. The game has changed so much with unlimited transfers, NIL. You never know. Winning is key. Yep. We will never be good again. I hope you are wrong. Hope you're wrong. Do you think North Dakota State can beat Colorado? I do not think that's going to happen. Colorado should take care of business at home. I know people are going to hype up that. They're going to say, North Dakota State's going to beat them. North Dakota State hasn't been in their prime in a couple years. They haven't won a national title in FCS play. So, no, I think Colorado will win that game. We use NIL Schollies for scholarships now. Played at Miller North. There you go. What do you think of Coach Burrell, new Miller North coach? Man, I love him, dude. Holy cow. He brings some energy, bro. Yo, Miller North's on the come up, dude. It was interesting. Sebastian Serco, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Nebraska preps, but he was a guy who was in the class of 2025, and he was supposed to transfer to Miller North, but I think he ended up moving to Miami. But you guys got a couple transfers, of course, Caden Vermoss, Pierce Mooberry in your final season. So, yeah, Miller North's going to be tough. They're going to get better. So, Nebraska Preps is on the come up, but you guys aren't beating Millard South for many years. Trust me on that one. Recruiting Missouri and Colorado. All right. Keep putting stuff here in the comments. We'll probably try to go for about 5 or so minutes. Again, make sure to hit that like button on the stream. Follow me on social medias. And if somehow you are not subscribed to the channel, I don't know how you could be watching the stream and not sub to the channel. I'm posting a video every single day talking Nebraska football, Nebraska recruiting. I want to thank every single one of you guys for 4,000. We hit that Thursday night right after the debate. So I want to thank you guys for 4K. I mean, that's awesome, but it's all gas, no breaks. I mean, you see some creators on YouTube, they get big or they, reach their subscriber goal and they stop making content. That's not me. That's not us here. We're continuing to make stuff. We're going to continue to be people's go-to for Nebraska football. So again, if you're new here to the channel, if you're not subbed for whatever reason, you're tuned in, make sure to hit me with that subscribe button. I mean, why not? What do you got to lose? What do you got to lose? So please hit that sub button. It would be awesome. Man, they're talking about Millard North football here in the chat here. I'm very optimistic, but of course I played for Coach Petito, and he literally was a volunteer when I played in 2009. Yeah. No, the new Millard North coach is a stud. The old Millard North coach, the one who just retired, man, he was past his prime. You guys run the option in 2022, man. Not the way it should be. That wasn't going to work. You guys haven't been competent in years, but I like your new head coach a lot. All right, guys, put your final thoughts in the comment section. We'll get out of here. I don't know when the next live is going to be. I don't know when the next live is going to be. It probably will be in college football 25 drops, but we're probably going to have less content coming out, or not less lives coming out, just because there's less recruiting stuff. Fongway says, ever eat at Old Millard Roadhouse when it was open? Yeah, I've ate there once or twice. Well, I can't even remember. It was a long time ago, but yeah, it's closed now. It was good though. Henry Reberg, Millard North DB, had 10 sacks last year. Yep. He's another star. I forget. He might be committed somewhere, or I've seen him be getting offers recently. So yeah, he's another good player. Dion, will Nebraska be successful getting into Millard South and owning recruiting there? No. As of right now, no. I think we're really struggling in Millard South. Again, we missed Chase Loftin. We are not looking to go with Amarian Jackson because we refuse to offer him. And here's my thing about Nebraska, because I wanted to make a video about this, but I didn't want to seem negative. Amarian Jackson is the best receiver in Nebraska high school football. He was the best receiver as a sophomore. He was better than Isaiah McMorris last year. He was better than Davon Hall last year. And he was a sophomore. He's been getting offers over the last couple months from Iowa State, Iowa, Kansas, Minnesota, Illinois, all these regional schools. Nebraska refuses to offer him, yet they will offer Deshaun Prince and Champ Davis, other in-state receivers who are significantly worse. So at this point, Amarian Jackson, he's frustrated. I don't think he's going to commit to Nebraska, even if we offer him. And then Isaac Jensen, I talked about him in my recent video. Same deal there. You don't want to piss off Ty Wisdom, the head coach at Millard South. And I think, unfortunately, Matt Rhule and the staff, they're kind of doing that. So they got to work hard to lock down that high school, because that's the new West Side. That's the new Omaha North. That's the new Omaha Central, right? The old Blue Bloods, in the 2000s and 90s. Millard South's going to be that for the 2020s. So got to lock down that state. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate everybody hopping on live, talking some Nebraska recruiting, giving you a little bit of an update. Again, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media. I'll follow every single one of you guys back. You guys know the deal. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend, end of the weekend, I suppose. But you got 4th of July coming up on Thursday. Hope you guys have a good one, shooting off some fireworks. Hope we got some good weather. It's looking a little rainy in Omaha, so hoping that dies down. But I appreciate you guys hopping in here on the live. You can see if, yep. Oh, shoot. I got some more comments here. I got to get on here. Kate says you should do another recruiting class video, or you should do another recruiting class review. Did for the bad. We might do another one. We might. I got mixed reviews on that. Would you ever consider reaching out to current players and team and try to get interviews? Maybe. I think Rhule talks to them and doesn't let them do interviews, at least during the year. So we'll see. Man, we got a Colorado fan in the house, dude. You're late. You're an hour late. You could have been in here talking crap. Could have been in here talking trash, but streams are over, dude. So, but hey, appreciate you. See you, Buffs Dynasty, man. Sub to the channel, bro. So stay in tune with some Nebraska. We'll see you in the next live stream. Yep, appreciate you guys hopping on here. Again, we'll be hopping off right now. But again, see ya. Go Big Red. Go Matt Rhule. See you in the next one.